Sally and Sue to the session. So we've already done our little check-in. Let's just go straight into today's quote and into lesson after that. So let me just share my screen with you, and we'll have a little read of today's teaching. So I need to restart my laptop, just a bit slow today. Okay, so there we go, and where are we? There. There. Today's, yeah, there we go. Okay, so recording, share screen. Okay, so Sue, if you can read that.
Nothing is so strong as gentle.
Start with.
Nothing so gentle as real strength.
Nothing is so strong as gentleness. Nothing so gentle as real strength. So any thoughts on that?
That's a lovely quote. Yeah. Nothing is so strong as gentleness. Nothing so gentle as real strength. Oh, my Mark springs to mind when I read that.
Okay. Is it gentle?
I'd share. He's gentle. Yeah.
Yeah. So true strength comes from within, and it's gentle, but it has this persistent power. So I use the analogy of water. It's like gentle and flowing. It's not harsh, but enormously powerful.
Yeah, that also reminds me of my mum's partner, who's my mum's husband, who's now passed on, but he was a really lovely, gentle person. There was a real strength in him. Yeah, lovely.
So it's a reminder, that where does strength really lie? Because the misinterpretation of the ego is that strength is in force. There's the David Hawkins idea, power versus force. What's true power and what's force? So I force, I try and manipulate other people to get my will. I try and force the issue, and the ego is telling you that's strength, but it's not. It's actually weakness. So quite a good test is, well, does this feel gentle? Is it gentle? Is it kind? What's the energy of it?
I had an experience this morning where I was trying to do something with an animal that's very strong, really strong, and I was trying to, hang on for grim death. And that doesn't sound good.
Grim death.
And then I let go, and not physically let go, but I stopped efforting, stopped trying, and then let peace be there. And the energy really changed so profoundly, and she lost all strength. It was like she was no longer resisting me. And it was really transformational. It's like there was that push-pull thing going on initially. And then when I let go, it was just such a different experience. So yeah, lovely, gentle energy.
And that's true strength. The true strength. In the martial arts, they talk about the true master never has to fight, because they have such inner strength, such wisdom, such poise, that in any situation, that presence will enable them to defuse it. And so they don't actually have to fight. There's a story of, I don't know if this is true, might be an urban legend, but there was this, I think he was a karate or kung fu, 6th Dan black belt kind of dude. And so he's in the streets of Thailand on holiday, with his wife, and these four guys come out, knife. They say, "Give us your wallet," and so because he's trained in the martial arts, he's just like, "Okay, guys, I'm totally calm. It's no fuss, just very matter of fact." He said, "We can do this." He said, "I'm a 6 Dan karate expert, whatever. We can do this. I can take you all on, and we'll all get hurt. But I can promise you, you'll be very hurt. You'll probably end up in hospital." And so he's just like really calm, matter of fact, and just that presence. The guys go, "Whoa, whoa, maybe this isn't such a good idea," and they run away. It's called PD in combat. It's like psychological, and so you don't actually have to fight. It's just can you stay in that powerful, gentle presence. So he's actually being gentle and kind with them. He's saying to them, "Okay, if you want to do this, this is where this can go." And actually, what he's trying to do is prevent that from happening. He's trying to warn them, say, "No, don't do this." And then they disappear. Something in them is like, "Whoa, this is actually scary," even though he's 1 against 4. Like just the way he said it and his presence was enough to say, "Oh, we're dealing with something different here." Because what every bully wants is someone who's going to be weak and a victim. And then they go, "Okay, well, that just plays into it." But if you don't, and you just go, "Okay, well, actually, you have no psychological domination over me. I'm not scared." That takes away their power. So you can apply this in practice in those kinds of situations as well. But
that actually brings to mind something that happened to me when I was a child. And I remember being in the park, and there was 4 girls that came up to me, and they started, "I don't know, we're going to have you," kind of thing. Yeah. And I remember just being really calm, and I can't exactly remember my response, but it was something along the lines of, "Well, okay, if that's what you want." And it just stopped them dead in their tracks, and they just were stunned, and then they just kind of disappeared.
Yeah.
And they were girls at school, and then they just kept a wide berth from me from then on.
Yeah.
That's
so
just come to mind as you said that.
they were just threatening, and they wanted you to go into the victim and into the fear.
Yeah.
You didn't. You just went, "No, I'm not going to play that game." And then suddenly they're going, "Oh, this person isn't going to be that easy to have," whatever that means, isn't it? They're going to thought they were going to physically assault you.
There was no aggression or anything like that. I just calmly spoke to them, and they were like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah. So you were gentle, but you were strong. And that's exactly what the quote's about. I'm gentle, strong. Because some people say, "Well, how does this stuff actually work in practice?" If someone's going to attack you. But there's been many instances, not necessarily personally experienced. I've had a couple where you listen to people, and if they stay in that presence, it just changes the energy, and they find that actually the difficult situation dissipates, because whoever the so-called attack is, they're human. They have thoughts and emotions going on as well, and so you change your energy, you drop into a different frequency. They feel that because you're in that now relationship with them, and they will feel it. And usually they're quite fearful. Every bully is a coward, so they're quite fearful. And so if you just change the dynamic on them, and you make them realize that that this isn't the case. And I'll give you another story, actually. That's beautiful similar story. So you're familiar with the Aikido martial art. So Aikido is a martial art where you can't actually attack anyone. You can only use the attacker's force against him. So you can flow with whatever's coming at you, but there's no punching or kicking, or unlike some of the others. So there's this Aikido master in his young days, and he's learning this Aikido stuff, and he's like, and his ego wants to use it, right? So the ego's like, "Oh, bring me a situation where I'm going to be the hero and I can use my Aikido." And so the situation comes. He's on a train in Japan, and this guy gets in, and he's a big strapping laborer guy, and he's drunk. He's drunk on sake, and he's cursing, and he's being aggressive, and there's women and children and an old man on this train, and so the guy's like, okay, his ego's like, right, here we go, this is your opportunity, you need to do something, stand up and take the guy on, use your aikido skills to take him down. And he's about to do that, and then this old man comes in and he starts talking to the guy, and he just watches this process. The old man just chats to him like, oh, he said, well, a nice day, isn't it, or something. And just gets him thinking differently. And he watches how over a period of about 5 minutes, he takes him from this really angry, and eventually the guy is sitting in the old man's, he's got his head in the old man's lap, and the old man is stroking him and saying it's going to be okay. And he's done that in like 5 minutes. And then the guy realized, the Aikido master, he said, that was Aikido. That was the essence of Aikido. What he just did, what I was going to do, use physical force, was not the essence of Aikido, which was obviously a huge learning for him. That's why, one of the reasons why he progressed and became a master, because no physical force was required. It was just the gentleness, the kind presence of the old man, really realizing that laborer was emotionally distressed, right? And he was able to talk him and get him to reveal what that emotional distress was. I think he said, oh, I don't have a wife and I'm all alone, and he's basically lonely and upset, and then he's drunk the sake, and now he's got all into a rage state. But underneath that, there's a lonely little boy who's actually lonely and scared. And so the old man just brings him around to that and gets him to come out of that anger state into a state where he's actually just the lonely, vulnerable little boy, even though he's a big strapping man, and talks him down from his anger state. So doesn't and he doesn't have to lift a finger, just with his words and his presence. So another example. So if ever you do get into a tricky situation, it's like, okay, what's the gentle approach, the flowing approach? You don't have to fight anyone. You just have to change their mind, change their energy, change their mind, and because everyone has a mind, and that is always possible. There's no order of difficulty in miracles.
Yeah, I can see that.
So yeah, let's just read short teaching today. So a good way of thinking of this. Do you want to read that, Sunny?
A good way of thinking of this is by considering briefly what flowing water in a stream or river does. It flows gently over rocks and stones and seems to be too soft and malleable to be able to have any impact on them. Yet over centuries of persistently flowing, the water gradually wears away the rocks and stones and profoundly changes the landscape, as you can see from this photo of the Grand Canyon in the US, which has been made by the Colorado River over a millennia of gentle, persistent effort. Although with another quote, to inspire you not to give up your gentle, persistent efforts to free yourself from your little concept or ego. That was the subject of yesterday evening's discussion session, by accepting the gentle power of love to replace it. And the quote is, nothing in this world can take the place of persistence. Talent or not, talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education is not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. Yeah, that's a good one.
This gentle, kind, loving presence, just persistently applied, this is the answer. You don't need the magic of the ego, and he's talking about talent and genius and education, all these things people rely on. But persistence and determination are omnipotent because they come from presence, they come from source. Source is always there, it's eternal. So by definition, if you're rooted in source, then you are incredibly determined in this world because you have the source that is unfailing, that is eternal. And so you tap into that, and then you discover this, power of persistence and determination in the service of a true cause. And once you're in that, that's the key to success on any level. You just keep going and you keep going in this gentle, kind, patient, persistent way, and eventually things must unfold. You cannot not get results if you do that. And of course, the whole point ultimately is your own transformation. So really, your hero's journey of learning the truth about yourself. That's the ultimate project that you're taking on. So just remember, if the going gets tough, if it gets difficult, it's like persistence and determination. I might have had a bad day, the ego might be coming strong at me, but I have this power behind me, and I won't quit. I'll just keep going. And that's the way to undo the ego. Same energy as water. Persistently, slowly, patiently, just wearing away at that, seemingly that rock that seems to be, so big and strong, and it just wears it away and erodes it into nothing. This is the same kind of approach that we're taking. And then I just ask you to reflect on the two quotes and renew your faith and determination to continue this hero's journey of transformation, despite whatever blocks you seem to be encountering. Just remind yourself these are to be expected and are in fact essential to face to help you to undo the ego's false belief in separation. So the blocks are necessary on the journey. That's what's going to help you to free your mind. So did you do that? Any insights came up for either of you this morning?
Well, I just like that process of being persistently gentle. I can see that's being kind to yourself. Choosing a kind way. I feel like sometimes I am a bit harsh with myself. This seems to feel much more loving. And persistently, just gently chipping away.
Exactly. And you can't fail then. Not, the failure, in the process of doing that, you succeed and you're learning what you need to learn. So you just approach anything like that. You go, okay, so kindly, gently, patiently, I'll just chip away. I'm going to be consistent. I'm going to be persistent. And, that's how you create anything of value in this world, because it's coming from the source then.
As long as you're going persistently in the right direction.
Yes, obviously. Persistence and determination in the wrong direction, but you'll find that doesn't have much staying power. The ego's motivations will let you down time and again. True persistence and determination come from the spirit, and that's a source of ongoing inspiration, which then gives you the persistence and the determination to continue, because it's deep, it's meaningful, there's something deeper than anything the ego can offer you. I mean, my experience with this course has been exactly that. It's just like, okay, I took it on, and when I took it on, I didn't know really what I was taking on. It was probably a good thing, but it's just been okay. Every day, I get up and persistently, I just do what needs to be done, and I try and do it patiently and kindly and lovingly, and then it unfolds. And it doesn't matter where it is in the process. And initially I was like, it's not happening quick enough, and I'm not getting enough people. But like, I quickly had to learn that's not what this is for. It's actually my own process of learning this. learning to let go of those egoic motivations, and just say, okay, I'll do it because it feels like it's right to do. I'm serving God, and it's got its own process, and I'm just a servant to that, and I must just persistently, determinedly show up and do what I need to do, and then that just permeates through everything, and you can't fail to be successful, because that's the success is learning that. It's coming from, okay, I'm actually learning what I'm supposed to be learning here. So that's the foundation of it. But then in form, that plays out in form as different energy. People pick up on that and they go, okay, I resonate with that, and so it creates a frequency of energy which other people can resonate with and pick up on, and hopefully it helps them to be persistent and determined in their own practice as well.
Somebody said I was obsessive about the Course in Miracles the other day. And I know I took a comment, and maybe that was a projection as well. But I don't see it as obsessive. I just see it as consistently doing it.
Yeah. So, that's obsession has got, this unhealthy connotation of you somehow obsessed, and but you're actually obsessed with the truth, saying I'm going to live my life according to the truth and only the truth. Well, you can call that obsession, but that's actually the only functional way of living your life. So that's just a defense. She's obviously feeling a bit nervous, maybe. Your commitment. Yeah, because commitment, if you committed and someone else isn't, then they go, oh, that makes me feel less than. So now I've got to say, well, actually your commitment is obsessional, when actually it's commitment to the truth. It's commitment to the only thing that really matters in this world, and it's helping you enormously, benefiting you, and it's benefiting others. So, well, it should be a good role model. But don't expect, the deeper you go into this, don't expect the ego to like it. You go, oh, Sally, you're doing really well, pat you on. No, it's going to do everything it possibly can to stop you, because it knows that this is its undoing. And so these other voices come in, worldly voices, and they'll say, oh, you're obsessed with it, and and I've had it too. But I'm like, I know, like in my heart, what do I know? What do you know to be true? Because that's the only thing that matters.
I know that if I plan not to be on the call, everything will work to make sure I'm on the call. It's like today, I thought I won't be on until 1 o'clock. I was ready by 20 to 1. And it was like everything just happens to make sure that happens in the most gentlest, smoothest way. So I know it's right. Yeah.
And then you've got to trust your knowing. Like, who's the other person to say that? I mean, judgment, it's just, Yeshua talks about how can they judge? They have no idea. They don't know where you're at. They don't probably understand A Course in Miracles properly. They don't understand your process. They don't understand this course. How can they possibly judge and say you're obsessed? Well, who's judging? The next time that happens, just say, well, who are you to judge me? How can you possibly make that judgment? You don't know me. You don't know my process. Do you really understand A Course in Miracles? Do you understand the process that I'm on? Well, why don't you join us, do a 3-week free trial, and then maybe you'll understand. And then you can maybe make a more informed judgment, because people just judge with no idea of actually what they're judging. But that's always been the case. Any truly spiritual person who's going on into this this deep connection with their source will get judged by the world, and told that, think of Yeshua, one example, right? So he's so committed, he goes for 40 days and he meditates, prays in the desert for 40 days. People are like, are you off your head? You might die doing that. That's like seriously obsessional. The Buddha goes, okay, I'm going to give up all of my worldly pleasures and luxuries. I'm going to go on this ascetic path because I want the truth and the truth only. And he nearly starves himself to death and finally gets it eventually 7 years later, these people were committed. There was no like half measures with them. Well, it's like, okay, I'm all in. Hafiz, I was listening to Eckhart Tolle about Hafiz, who was a Sufi mystic and poet. 40, I don't know what it is about the 40 thing, but 40 days. Apparently the Sufis have this saying, if you want something, you don't sleep and you meditate for 40 nights and you stay awake, and then you'll get given your heart's desire. And he was obsessed with this woman, this beautiful woman, but he wasn't of the right class. He said, okay, well, I'll do this. And after 40 days, the angel appears to him, Angel Gabriel, and says, what do you want? And he's so kind of taken with the splendor of the angel that he forgets the woman and says, I just want God. And then, so these are all stories. These people were committed, deeply committed to their spiritual path. That made them extraordinary, but that's what gave them their deep insight and their wisdom. And that's why they're the masters they were. So you can't listen to the voices of the world telling you, oh, you're being obsessed. Well, what else are you going to be obsessed about? What else are you going to dedicate your life to? Is there anything else really worthy of your time and energy? When you're going to sit and watch, TV, or focus on a hobby, or what else are you going to do with your life than learn the truth of who you are? So if you go on this path, that becomes your calling. It's a calling. It's, people will think it's an obsession, but it's like, this is the way I choose to live my life.
What springs to my mind is that not a reflection back to you? What's going on for you?
What, the person saying it?
Yeah.
Well, it's your own resistance coming up in the form of the person, isn't it? So it's your ego going, oh, I'll find a way to try and get to her and tell her she's obsessed so that maybe she'll stop. Because that judgment, you might go, oh, well, I'm not normal anymore. I'm kind of losing the plot, and I'm going, but you have to go outside of the normal. You're not going to be normal if you do this course in a deep way, because normal is actually dysfunctional. Normal is the ego's way of thinking, is actually insane. This is what every spiritual teacher and master has been teaching us forever. Normal is dysfunctional. Normal is insane. So you want to become extraordinary. You want to become abnormal in a good way. That your thought system is not insane anymore, and you actually have a true guide that transcends all of that. That's guiding you, and that can help you deal with all these obstacles on the path in this very gentle, loving, kind way, but incredibly powerful. Persistence and determination. You just keep going on that track, and if you keep going, it's inevitable that you'll succeed. So the ego has to try and stop that process. It's going to try and do everything it can to get you to question the path and make your faith waver, so that you don't practice and then you revert back to the ego's default thought system. Okay, so let's any more thoughts on that? Let's dive into today's lesson. Right, so Sally, your favorite so we'll leave number 2 for you to read today, I think. Sue, do you want to kick it off and read number 1, please?
All right, then. What are the alternative ones?
The body as a fence.
The body is a fence. The extension of perfect love imagines it has built to separate parts of itself from other parts. It is within this fence. This separated mind thinks it lives to die as it decays and crumbles. For within this fence, it thinks that it is safe from love. Identifying with its safety, it regards itself as what its safety is. How else could it be certain if it remains within the body, keeping love outside? The body will not stay.
No, it's not.
Oh,
That's Sally's. Just any
Yeah.
thoughts on paragraph 1?
yeah, the body. It's a barrier, isn't it?
A fence, which is quite a nice analogy to it.
Okay.
So we
So
built
it
this fence around
separates.
us to
It
separate parts.
separates. Yeah.
So now we seem to be in parts. The Son of God with extension of love, which is just mind, now seems to be separate because you have these separate bits which seem to have a form wandering around.
It regards itself as what safety is. So it's believing that it's keeping you safe, but it's keeping what you want outside rather than inside.
Yeah, it excludes love. So it's a fence to separate you from love. It is safe from love. So you identify with the body, and how can you have love? How can you be one if you're a body? See, the body denies oneness. By definition, separate. Oh, I have a separate body, you have a separate body. So therefore we separate it. So that's the fence.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. We've all got the barriers up.
And the body then becomes the chief mechanism for maintaining the separation in our mind. You identify with the body, it keeps you identified with the separate self. It keeps love away, keeps you in your separate self, and it's telling you that this is going to keep you safe. All it's keeping safe is your ego's self-concept of being a separate self. And so it identifies with the body, and then we have a society that's body obsessed. It's all about the comfort, the pleasure, the security of the body, and we spend most of our lives obsessed in that pursuit, trying to make the body give it what we think it needs, make it comfortable, make it safe, prevent it from aging, keep it beautiful, all these things. And this is what human beings, if you're not on a spiritual path, this is what you become obsessed with.
So I find that my body talks to me. So
Your body doesn't talk to you, your mind talks to you.
Yeah, but through my body.
Yeah, but it's the interpretation of the body with the mind. The body has no intelligence of itself.
No, yeah, okay. So what I see happening in my body is my mind
projection
telling me how well, I'll just give you an example. My nails break. Sometimes my nails are really strong and sometimes they just break. And it always feels like when they break that I'm feeling unsafe about something. So it's my mind
manifesting through the body.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the body is a projection of the mind, and the mind is in control of the body. So the body can be a useful tool if you see that. Okay, so it's showing me. It's the canary in the gold mine. Okay, there's nails are breaking. Okay, so that's a sign if you know how to interpret it. Yeah. A lot of people just go, oh, well, my nails are breaking, so I'll go to the chemist and try and get some nail hardener or something physical to fix it. But that's if you interpret your body on that level, you'll always see it as real, and you'll see it as this fence that's keeping you safe from love. If you start to see, well, my body's just showing me my mind, and it can be really useful to be able to interpret whatever the body's experience is from a spiritual perspective. It can help me to let go of things I need to let go of, can help me to learn the lessons I need to learn. And that's really the only purpose of the body. It's a learning device. It's a vehicle.
Yes, that's how I see it, actually. When that comes up, I don't think, oh, God, my nails are broken. I think, okay, so why am I feeling unsafe? what
Yeah.
is that's
Hmm.
triggered that in me.
And so then you're using the body for what it's for. You're not making the body in itself important. Your nails are not important at all. They're illusion. But it's a sign that there's something wrong in the mind. Okay, well, now that can be used to bring that problem up, look at it, and let it go, and restore your mind to a state of wholeness.
I
And
think
so that's the
yeah.
purpose of the body. Is to
but
help the
I
mind
see
learn
that with
what needs to learn.
other things going on in my body, but I don't know what that's actually telling me. But I just know my nails are telling me safety.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
But if you can learn to tap into it and say,
working it
okay,
out.
this
Yeah.
is just a vehicle for my learning, and it can show me things that are useful.
Mm.
So let me tap in and just see what's going on, and then you become conscious and aware. And the kinds of dysfunctions that a lot of people experience with the body, they come from unawareness. They're not actually aware of what's going on, and then they try and fix it on the level of form. We've got a whole industry, the medical industry, and various other things around the body that will go, oh no, what I've got a solution. But the real solution is in your mind. It doesn't lie in the whatever the magic pill or potion is that's supposedly going to fix the body. So whenever something goes wrong in the body, always reflect, okay, so what is this telling me? What's the deeper lesson to be learned here? Because if I can learn it, then usually the body condition will correct itself.
Yeah,
You've
it does.
changed it on the mind level. So you
Yeah,
don't
my
need
nails suddenly get really strong.
you don't need the magic. You
Yeah.
just need to correct your mind, and then on the level of form, the miracle shows up, and it shows you that the body is actually an extension or projection of the mind. You look at the integral model. We go back here briefly to that. This is how it works. So the internal, your intentional domain changes, and then that shifts what you can observe on the level of form, the body, behavior, performance outcomes, because it's directly connected. It's a result of, a consequence of this. And then it can feed back. If you do that and you get a change in the behavior that you can observe in the body and behavior, then that reinforces the change in your mind. You go, oh, okay, well, that worked. Okay, interesting. And that's how miracles work. You start learning, okay, if I think that, then something changes, and then that reinforces that was a good thing. That was I was on the right track there because I got a good result. And so this is what A Course in Miracles is doing. It's playing in these two domains primarily, saying, well, start there, change your mind, then you see the miracle. The miracle confirms that you're on the right track, and that value, that belief is correct. And so it reinforces it, and you keep doing that. You're using this the external world as it should be used, and the body is part of that, or for your awakening.
Yeah.
Okay, so happy with number one.
Mm-hmm.
Moving swiftly on to number two.
The thing that was occurring to me while Sue was talking about her nails was, just because the nails symbolize a lack of protection or feeling unsafe, then that will radiate out through the whole being, and the aura and the room, everything else. So although it's an indication in a part of the body, I was feeling it could be the whole body's experiencing it and responding. So don't isolate it just to the nails. The whole body will be responding to as action.
Yeah. So the nails can be the canary in the gold mine that tells you, okay, I don't need to look for other signs because the nails tell me.
Yeah.
But you could probably observe it in the rest of the body as well, if you tapped in.
But sometimes it can be easier to notice it in one part of the body than another. So it's easier to notice it in nails because it's kind of further away and it's less important than it is perhaps, your belly or something,
Yeah.
Anyway.
So this is all about, it's not saying you deny the body. Yeshua's not saying deny the body. It says that's virtually impossible anyway, to deny that you have a body while you're still apparently living in one in the world. But you can use the body differently. You see it differently, you perceive it differently, and it's used now as a vehicle for your awakening. And so you become much more aware. And if you look at all the mindfulness practices, It's all about becoming more aware of your body, actually. So that's quite interesting. You go, well, I thought we were trying to let go of the body. So why are you becoming more aware of the body? Because you're becoming aware of what it's telling you, right? Because it's an indicator of what's going on in your mind. And so via the body, you can now start to go into the mind in a deeper way. So for instance, the Vipassana, which is the basis of modern mindfulness, you observe the breath. So it starts with that. That's a bodily process. And then you scan your body, you observe body sensations. And now that's a way into a deeper part of your mind, into the emotional level, which you might have repressed. Because through the sensations, you start to become aware of emotions. And so through that awareness, you start now at the exploration of the deeper mind. So the body then is just the way in, it's the portal into the mind. And that's why it's useful. Ultimately, to let go of it at the highest level of samadhi, the mystic, the yogis in samadhi is not aware of the body. They've transcended it. But while you're learning this, the awareness of the body can be very helpful.
Yeah, so it's ultimate safety, isn't it? I don't know what level you work with the nails, but it's ultimate safety, which is believing that we are the body, which isn't safe. But taking it the next step into the oneness, the truth of who you are, would create the most safety you could create for your nails and your body.
I'm not the body, but the body can tell me if I'm out of alignment. It can be a sign. It can be quite useful to tell me if I'm going into fear and I'm out of alignment with my true self. And so it's a vehicle for learning.
You didn't get it, did you?
No. Can I just clarify that? So is it feeling unsafe going into the oneness?
No, I felt that it was unsafe because you believe you're the body.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
If there's any fear, there's some kind of body identification.
Don't worry.
There's something that happens, Jono, when we're sitting on the sofa together. It's a bit like unsafe because you believe you're the body. What was I going to say? Iona's sofa. What was Iona's sofa of transformation or something?
Yeah.
But when both of us sit here together, there's usually a good, you can feel it. It's quite palatable, isn't it? There's a different energy to it.
Yeah.
Doing it on our own in separate rooms.
Yeah. Well, it's a group energy. Yeah, when two or more come together in my name, said Yeshua, then I will be there. So it's like a power of unity. So use the body as it can be really useful on the path, and that's the whole point. I mean, you don't deny it. You use it as a tool for your awakening, but don't believe that you're a body. Don't believe that your nails in themselves are important, because that would be misidentifying again. So someone who was like, oh, my nails cracking, oh, this is terrible. What will people think? I've got to go get my nails fixed. No, wrong mindset completely, because now you're identified with body and appearance, and you're not really going any deeper than that. But if you look at your nails, okay, nails are cracking. Okay, what's that telling me about, my internal state of mind? Okay, well, that's a useful perspective and a use of the body in that instance.
Well, what often happens in the EAM world that we work in is people will look at the reasoning for feeling unsafe in the illusion. So they'll say, well, I feel unsafe because that's happening in my life. But then it doesn't take it to the next level, which is, well, that will always keep happening because the ego will keep creating things all the time to keep you running around in circles. But my feeling over the last few months has been, you've got to take it to the bigger picture, haven't you? The ultimate belief in separation and this, and
because otherwise you'll keep recreating those human dramas, because you still want to be separate, until you confront that the desire to be a separate self, really look at that, you're not getting anywhere. So that's, come back to what we said earlier, that's why this course has ultimate truth, because he's asking you to look at the very core of your seeming separate identity and existence, being the ego. Really look at it honestly and undo it. And any authentic spiritual path, that's what it's designed to do, to help you to look at your ego and to let it go. So wherever you go, in the end you'll find the same message. Okay, you've got to look at the ego, you've got to become aware of it, and you've got to let it go. And, the course just makes that very explicit and gives you, all this mind training exercises to actually help you do that. Okay, so number 2.
Want me to keep talking about nails, so we'd have to do number 2.
I was aware
I don't know. I don't get this double safety thing.
procrastination.
All right. And I'm going to do it in sections very slowly.
Okay.
The body will not remain. Get that one. Yet this it sees as double safety.
Okay. To understand why.
The trouble. No, that's the trouble. So yeah.
Well, let's go to the previous paragraph. He's saying it's safety, right? So that's where it's coming from. Identifying that it's safety.
Mm.
It regards itself as what its safety is, being the body. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now he's saying, well, that's the first level of safety.
Get the first level. Yeah.
You've identified yourself as a body, so you're keeping love outside you. You've identified with this fence that keeps love away. Okay. First level of safety, but double safety comes in that.
Yeah, but then like the death side. Oh, I've got so much resistance around that. Let me read it.
This it sees as double safety because the body will not remain. So the body is impermanent. It doesn't just separate you. First level of safety.
Annihilate.
Also impermanent. The body will not remain. But the ego sees that as double safety, and then he explains why.
That's really resistant in me. For the extension of perfect love's impermanence is proof its fences work and do the task its mind assigns to them. For if its oneness still remain untouched, who would attack and who could be attacked?
Okay, so you get that?
No.
Well, this is proof. So now the body is impermanent. You are going to die. So clearly eternal life and eternal love are not real because you're going to die.
Yeah, I hear the words. I hear the words, but it's like,
see, so it's the ultimate proof that oneness, eternal oneness, has been destroyed. The body's death and impermanence is seeming proof that you actually have pulled this incredible thing off. You have destroyed eternal life and eternal love, and that the task its mind assigns to them. That the ego's in charge. Basically, the ego's now taken over, and the eternal love is nowhere. Because if its oneness still remained untouched, who could attack and who could be attacked? There's only perfect oneness. There can be no attacker and person being attacked. There's no separation. In oneness, it's not possible for attack to happen, is it? Who could be victor and who could be its prey? So you couldn't have victims and persecutors because there's only perfect oneness. And who could be victim? Who the murderer? Now, none of that could exist in perfect oneness. And if it did not die, what proof is there that pure formless awareness of perfect love's eternal extension can be destroyed? Right? If you didn't die, you knew you're eternal, then, well, there's no destruction. There's no, the oneness has not been destroyed very clearly. So the death of the body becomes the ego's best argument that you have actually destroyed eternal life and that you are condemned to die as a result.
I wonder what my resistance is, because I know I'm eternal. I know I'm not the body. I know I can't die. I'm not best pals with ego, so I'm not listening to ego so much. But what is it that is such... Oh, it's just really tough, that one.
Or are you just not understanding it? I mean, what's...
Yeah, it's not going in. So the first proof is that believing that the body defends itself. And the second one is believing that death will prove that I've annihilated oneness. But I don't believe in death. I believe I'm eternal. There must be a conflict there, or a split line.
There's still a split in your mind.
Yeah.
That there's still a body identification. Oh, but actually, because if you understand this, then you're saying I'm not a body. I absolutely understand I'm not a body. The body is false. I'm not a body. I'm not separate. I'm not Sally Peace. None of that's true. You really understand this. So there's a we're all identified with the body, but it's subconscious, and this is like bringing it into conscious awareness. And then if you experience resistance, because maybe there's still a body identification there.
There's certainly something there. I can't quite identify it at the moment.
Huh.
I went through the whole passage and I used EAM to sway on it, or I couldn't see what it was.
It's still a deep-seated belief that you're a body. So if you really understand this, you go, I'm not a body. The game's over. The dream's over. I'm not a body. I never was a body. Right? So my entire life in the body is a dream. It's actually meaningless. I've attached my mind into a body. I've had this whole dream experience. I've now finally woken up to that and realized that there was never any point to that. It was just a mad dream. In my whole life's been a delusion.
Yeah, it's a deep-seated belief. I'm a body.
And we all have it as humans, because you're born into it. You've had your body since you came out the womb, even before. But okay, let's say you're born. It means you're like, okay, well, I have sense perceptions, and you start learning about your body, and then you grow up in the body, and huge identification, attachment to this body thing. And now you're breaking that down with this teaching and saying, no, you're not what you thought you were at all.
And that's why I just said to Sue earlier that you believed you were the body, because I could see you believing you're a body, but I was denying that I believed I was. Even though consciously I feel like I don't, but there is something very...
But we're talking subconscious programming here, right? That belief you're a body is really at the core of the ego, because that gives form to the separation. So the ego's primary defense mechanism is the body, and so it's the thing that we're really going to struggle to let go of, the belief that you're a body. And he's going straight at it here in this passage, being very direct and saying, okay, so let's look at it. The first mistake you've made is you see the body as yourself, and so you see yourself as separate. Okay, so that's the first defense against oneness. Second defense is, you've actually destroyed oneness and eternal life, because the body can die. So that there's the proof that the ego is correct, that you actually have pulled it off. Eternal life must die. You have destroyed oneness, and now you're condemned to be a body and to die, which is, of course, your punishment for the sin of destroying oneness. But you just have to go, what a load of rubbish. What a story. I mean, my God, can you believe that?
Obviously so. Can you believe it? Obviously so, I do.
Yeah,
all right, I'm going to let it go. I'm letting it go.
If you just zoom out, take the hell and go, what a story. I mean, what a story you've told yourself. In order to incarnate and become a body and have this whole life. That's the story in your mind. And yes, you're just saying, look at the story. It's not true. You are eternal, pure, formless awareness. You don't need a body. Why would you need a body? Why would you need a human life? Why would you need a world? You don't need any of that. All of this was made up from the delusion that you're a separate self. And now you have to defend that separate self. So you create a body and you create a world, and you do, I mean, extraordinary. You go like, oh my God, what have we done? From one tiny mad idea, this is the product. And now we seemingly identified with the body, seemingly rooted in this body identity, thinking we're living a helpless, animated little life, limitation, lack, loneliness, suffering, and death. And it's all a product of a false belief. And the body has now just become the proof that belief is true. The body and the world. And yes, you're just saying, well, you've got to undo all of that, because you're not any of this. So it's simple, but I mean, wow, it's deep-seated and profound. If it doesn't rock your world, you're not a body, you're not who you think you are. Your entire life's a dream, it's an illusion. It never really happened. I mean, that's enough to make you really pause for thought, for sure. And there will be resistance to that. So that's why I'm saying do this over and over and over again, because the more you do it, the more it's like, oh, okay. And you watch, I can get, if you keep at this, keep persistently, patiently reading this, you'll get a breakthrough. And so it'll come and you'd go, oh, I get it. And something will just drop. And then that's another level of the ego gone.
All right. I'm going to just go and do a little bit of EAM on that before I have my client at 2:30. So I'm just going to hand you over to Sue for the next 10 minutes.
Okay. All right. So number 3.
Okay. The body is a dream. The body is a dream.
You're just dreaming, Sally.
The body is a dream. Like other dreams, it sometimes seems to picture happiness, but could quite suddenly revert to fear, where every dream is born. For only love extends in truth. Truth can never fear. Made to be fearful, the body must serve the purpose given it. But we can change the purpose that the body will obey by changing what we think that it is for, which is what we've been talking about, actually.
Right, so what's he saying there?
So this, well, our body doesn't exist. It's not real.
It reverts to fear. Like other dreams, it sometimes seems to picture happiness. So just go on Facebook any day of the week, and you see people posting, oh, happy, selfies, and I'm here and I'm happy, I'm smiling. It can seem to be happy, identifying with the body, but can quite suddenly revert to fear, where every dream is born. So something goes wrong, the person gets sick, someone dies, oh, suddenly there's fear. And that's always lurking in the background.
Yeah.
As long as you have like body identification, that fear hasn't left you, and at any point the fear can come back in.
And and what you're saying there about the pictures on Facebook, that's not really real anyway, is it? So people put on there that they're happy, but are they just showing face?
It's very easy. Put on a nice smile, take a photo of me in a nice place. It all seems to be
Everything's all right in the
happy.
world.
But scratch the surface underneath that, and you probably go, oh well, unless they perfectly enlightened, which would probably mean they wouldn't be on Facebook in the first place doing that. Like, why would you bother to show the world you're so happy if you have authentic happiness? It's not sort of a behavior that would be generally associated with a spiritual master. So it's an illusion. It's an image that they're putting out there. Oh, look at how happy I am. Look at how successful I am. Whatever they want to create, and it's a concept. Facebook is designed to. The reason why it's so popular is it helps people to perpetuate their self-concept.
And I'm really, I'm guilty of that. I've got a Instagram page called Abundance of Happiness, and I started this 100 days of happiness, and I posted something every day that made me happy. And some days there was genuinely happy things, but I also, because I sort of made this commitment of posting something every day, it was like I was having to find something to make me feel happy where it wasn't truly making me feel happy. Does that make sense? Yeah. So there's all these lovely pictures on there, but not all of them are genuinely happy pictures.
Yeah, because then you have to fake it. Okay, well, I'll just fake the smile or whatever.
But it doesn't feel like fake at the time. It just doesn't feel real happiness. So
No, it's good to notice that and say, okay, well, the problem is if you look for the level of form, and you have to have a picture to validate it, that's never a good idea, is it? Because you're saying, oh well, I have to have the form to validate it, but actually I don't, because the validity of it is my own experience, and you can't really take a picture of your own experience. I'm sitting like I'm just sitting being really peaceful. Okay, well, what's the big deal? How can I post a picture of that? But actually that's the truth.
Yeah. But sometimes you can actually see someone who's genuinely being genuine and they're not actually posing for a picture. If you take a picture of someone doing something, yeah, that's like a
Yeah, I mean, the best
genuine
photos
essence of it, don't you?
are not posed. The best photos are where, like, a photographer's just observing life. They get someone in the moment, they capture the mood of the moment, and it was a genuine feeling that's now captured in the
Right.
photo. Rather than, oh, okay, well, now we're gonna put on the smile and we're gonna pose because we know that people are gonna look in the picture and we want a certain image to
Yeah.
be projected of us out there. And the reason why Facebook's so successful is because it allows people to do that. Oh, you can be the whatever image you want to create, you can create it.
Pretend. Yes.
Yeah. But actually it's not really, authentic or genuine. And I think we all kind of know that. And yet people still do it. Or the worst is a dinner plate. Oh, I take a picture of my dinner plate. Oh, look at how cool I am because and people actually do this.
Oh, no, I
Oh, why are you
know.
taking a picture of your dinner, for God's sake? You think the world's interested? I know, because you see, it's a self-concept. Someone takes a picture of their dinner at a fancy London restaurant,
Yeah, look at
showing,
me.
oh, we're having this, and this is our 7-course dinner, and here's the menu, and this is really expensive. What are they doing? It's not about the food, it's about their self-concept is being enhanced through that, you see. So it's all a tool for the self-concept, which doesn't help them at all spiritually, but they don't know that, so otherwise they wouldn't do it.
Hey, honey.
Okay, so any other thoughts? Only love extends in truth. Truth can never fear. So if you identify with the body, then fear will be your constant companion. You'll never be able to overcome the we call it existential anxiety in psychological terms. Existential anxiety is like, I don't know why I'm anxious, but I'm just anxious. Why?
Oh, okay.
Ultimately, the body knows that the mind knows that it's kidding itself. That this whole body identity is actually false, and that everything that you value here is going to come to nothing because you're going to die. I mean, of course, that's going to create existential anxiety. The only way of addressing it is going to the level that we're going to. It's saying, well, you're not a body. You never were. You never resolve that existential anxiety within the body's framework, which is why a lot of psychotherapy never works, because they don't go there and say, well, actually, you're not a body. They try and manage it within the framework of the ego. Well, good luck with that, but you're never going to do it. As long as you believe you're a body, fear will be there. But he gives us the answer. We can change the purpose that the body will obey by changing what we think that it is for. So it's no longer there to confirm separation. It's no longer there to confirm that we've destroyed eternal life. It's no longer there as a vehicle that stimulates fear. It's there for our awakening. It's the only purpose. It's there to facilitate our awakening to who we really are.
And it's actually a projection of our mind, isn't it?
Yeah. It's all, what's behind the body, and science still doesn't know. They go, oh, well, the body, the scientific materialist paradigm makes the mistake of saying the body and this external world are reality. So now they say, well, the body somehow exists independent of mind, and in fact the body and the brain are the source of consciousness. I mean, how upside down is that? How can the body, which is actually a projection of the mind, be the source of the mind? How's that possible? It's totally upside down and backwards. And you can see that if you understand the truth. It's very obvious. But somehow the scientific materialist paradigm on which our entire society is based has got this crazy idea that you are your brain. That your consciousness comes from the functioning of your brain. Without the brain, there would be no consciousness. No, without consciousness, there would be no brain. That's the correct.
Okay, I think Sally needs a laptop back now because she's got a client.
Okay.
So
we'll have to call it.
yeah, really sorry. But it's been a good session, so thank you.
Okay.
I
Thanks
released
for joining, and I'll see you. We'll join on Sunday evening if you can. Otherwise, Monday afternoon.
Okay, thank you. Bye. Bye.
Thanks, Sally. Namaste. Okay, so I'll just finish this on my own. So we've done number 3. We can change the purpose the body will obey by changing what we think that it is for. Number 4, body is the means by which pure formless awareness of perfect love's extension returns to sanity. Though it was made to fence it into victimhood without escape, yet the goal of pure formless awareness has been exchanged for the pursuit of its victim identity and the suffering this brings. Extension of perfect love extends its hand to reach other minds that are its companions and to help them walk along the road with it. Now is the body innocent. Now it serves to heal the mind that it was made to kill. So the body can be reinterpreted by the Holy Spirit. And it can be used to heal the mind. So we had that example of Sue, her nails. So instead of going, oh, well, it's a problem on the level of the body and I'm trying to fix it there. Instead we say, well, this is just a symptom of my mind is insecure and fearful. So it's a call for correction and for healing. And that's the purpose of the body. And the body can also help us to connect with others. So without a body, you can't communicate with other seeming minds on the journey. Body allows you to speak. Body allows you to act, to do various things that help you to connect with your brothers, to share the truth, and to be helpful to yourself and others in this dream. So you will identify what you think will make you safe. Whatever it may be, you'll believe that it is one with you. Safety lies in truth and not in lies. Love is your safety. Fear does not exist. Okay, so it's telling us very clearly, this is the truth, and you must identify only with the truth if you want to be safe. If you identify with the body, then fear will always be there. And that accounts for the existential anxiety that so many people experience because they believe they're a body. And the only way out of that fear is to recognize the truth that they're not a body. Identify with love and you are safe. Identify with love and you're home. Identify with love and find yourself, capital self. So some powerful words there. Just identify with this loving presence, this awareness in you, which is your own true awareness, pure formless awareness, perfect love, we call it. Identify with that as your home, and then you will be safe. And so that leads us nicely into today's lesson. Creation's gentleness is all I see is the original lesson, and then I've translated it as I perceive only perfect love's gentleness. Perceive only perfect love's gentleness. So that's all I can see in the world. I see from my true self, which is gentle and kind, and I see that everywhere. And you see the evidence for what you want to see. That's the law of perception. So he says, I have indeed misunderstood the world because I laid my sins on it and saw them looking back at me. And we'll change that to projected my sins on it. Projected my sins on it and saw them looking back at me. So the world is a projection of our minds. And we see in the mirror of the world what's in our own minds. That's what he's saying in the first sentence. So how fierce they seemed and how deceived was I. To think that what I feared was in the world instead of in my awareness alone. Right? So we think that this is all outside of us, it's in the world rather than in my own awareness. in my own mind. So today I perceive the world in the celestial gentleness with which being shines. So true being, true creation is being coming from the one mind source, and there is no fear in it. So there's no appearance of my sins. Sins, remember, are just errors made permanent and real and punishable in our minds. And there's no appearance of errors made real, permanent, and punishable in my mind obscure the state of pure formless awareness, blessing the world. What is reflected there is in perfect love's awareness. The images I see reflect my thoughts, yet it is my awareness at one with perfect love's, and so I can perceive its gentleness. That my awareness is one with perfect love's. Say that. So it's the same awareness. My awareness is perfect love's awareness. I am that presence, I am that source, I am that loving awareness. I am love. And so of course I can perceive its gentleness because I am it. My perception comes from who I am, who I identify with. And so when we connect with our source, we must perceive the gentleness that is in us and see the world in that, from that loving awareness. You see loving awareness, you see kindness, loving awareness everywhere, even in appearances of pain and suffering, sickness and death. You see that this underlying loving awareness is still there. And so in quiet, I look upon the world, which only reflects your thoughts and mine as well. Remember that they are the same, and I will perceive perfect love's gentleness. So I've translated here, just so you know, that creation is translated as being and as perfect love. Creation does not refer to physical world and universe. That is not what Yeshua means when he talks about creation. He's talking about true reality, dimension beyond this so-called reality of time and space. That there's this true awareness, this underlying reality, the ground of being that underlies all form. And this is the gentleness. And gentleness comes from that presence. Beingness, essence, whatever you want to call it. Ground of being. God. Doesn't matter what you call it. Matters is that you connect with it and you experience it. And you experience its benefits, one of which is a gentleness which can then manifest in the external as loving kindness. So in order to be truly kind, consistently and persistently, you must have connected with the gentleness. And this gentleness of the loving awareness in your own mind. Otherwise, your behavior will not be consistently loving and kind. So they talk about loving kindness in the Buddhist teaching. Well, to be loving and kind consistently, you must have changed your mind. That becomes the extension then of the change of mind, which then reinforces that change of mind is good. It's a good thing. It's valid, and that you should do more of it because you get the results in the external domain to show you that kindness works, and that people respond to that in a very positive way and makes you feel happier. So yeah, that brings us to the end of the session. I'm going to post another meditation, so I'm not going to record one. There's another 24-minute meditation that will guide you through this lesson, as well as the preliminary section on what is the body in a meditation. So if you'd like to contemplate and reflect on the lesson and the teaching before that on what is the body, then listen to that meditation sometime this afternoon or evening to do one more longer practice of this lesson. So I wish you good practicing. Thank you to Sally and Sue for joining earlier. And that's our last session for today. Next session is on Sunday. So enjoy the weekend. In the meantime, wish you good practicing and much peace and gentle love. Let Spirit guide you in this gentle love and power, strength that comes from that for today and the weekend ahead. Namaste, which means the gentle love in me honors that same gentle presence of love in you.